running low on time. Oh, and we're live with another episode of BS Busters. This one's a little bit special. It's going to be a little bit shorter, and it's going to be very focused topics. We only have two of them. So before we move any further, I would like the other person here to introduce themselves.
Hello, this is Piggy Dog from Video Game Facts, and happy Friday the 13th. Hope you're not visited by some psychotic killer in a hockey mask.
Yeah, it could be that, or the Crypt Keeper, or, Freddy Krueger, or the Wishmaster. There's so many creepy people that you just don't want visiting you on Friday the 13th. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So yeah, this is Mr. Red Fox here. And we're just talking about some of the creepiest experiences we've had with movies and video games. I guess we'll do movies first. What was a creepy movie you saw over the last, 2 or 3 years that you were like, damn, that was scary?
I haven't watched that many scary movies for the last 2 or 3 years. But I have seen some rather creepy, some horror movies as a kid.
Like
Sleepy Hollow, Tim Burton's version. And
yeah, that is a little creepy.
And there's Child's Play 2.
Yeah, the second one is kind of creepy, but just for me, the first one's a little bit creepier because there's that point in the movie where the lady realizes there's no batteries in the doll. And it's like seeing her reaction when she realizes there's no batteries in the doll is so shocking that it's like shit just got real, lady.
Yeah. And then and I also vaguely remember a bit of one of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. It involved Freddy coming out of some guy's stomach or something.
Yeah, I think that was part 4, where because those movies. The thing about Friday the 13th is that you remember the kills and Freddy's one-liners, and because part 3 and part 4 they kind of run together because they have the same premise. You have these young people who realize we can fight Freddy by basically fighting him in our dreams, and then basically they start out, they realize they're in a dream, they fight Freddy, and then they realize, wait a second, Freddy's way stronger in the dream world than it is in the real world. He winds up killing them anyway. I always thought Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street had some of the coolest one-liners when he killed people. This girl in this insane asylum, she's obsessed with television, so he turns into a TV. He's like, "Welcome to prime time, bitch," and smashes her head into the TV. I'm like, that's just a cool one-liner.
And let's not forget the Power Glove scene.
Oh yeah, the Power Glove scene. Or I think in the movie after that one, there's this kid who likes to draw, so he basically creates he turns into the superhero he draws. And he messes up Freddy Krueger, and then Freddy Krueger turns into Superman and kills him. I'm like, my God, this is just. He's like, I'm Super Freddy. None of your powers work on me. It's like, God damn, that's just Freddy Krueger's a bitch. Just evil, but he's just. I'm telling you, Robert Englund just had the one-liners down. They were so tight and just on point.
Yeah.
But well, since you haven't watched a lot and we talked about ones from the past, I'll talk about something that came out recently, last year, that was kind of creepy. It. It. It Chapter 1, because there's going to be a Chapter 2 next year. It's a remake of the TV film, of the first part of the TV movie It. That started Steve Curry as Pennywise the clown, who's not actually a clown. It's a evil entity. Well, alien, prehistoric creature. You just never know. But It. That wasn't really scary in the classical sense. I think it had good atmosphere, and going to the movie theater and seeing other people get scared was awesome. To me, it wasn't scary, but watching other people freak out was hilarious to me. So, well, I mean, the thing about it is that if you've ever read the book or watched the
the original TV.
The original TV series, here's what I'll say. The original TV series kind of falls apart in the second half. The first half is really much almost like a Stand By Me, also written by Stephen King, Stand By Me type of kid's journey, but in Stephen King's dark universe where like adults fucking suck, no one gives a shit about you, everyone's evil and everyone's in on the evilness either directly or indirectly. And the implications, like it's a lot of symbolism. But I think that it was overall very well done. A little too heavy on the jump scares. I'm like, you didn't need jump scares in order to make this scary. This could have been scary if you just gone with psychological horror, because that's the terrifying thing about it, is that it's a lot of psychological horror. Like the sole girl in the Losers Club dealing with a lot of implied sexual molestation from her father. That's horrific. That's horrifying.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need jump scares when we have a poor girl being molested by her dad. Heavily implied, but never explicitly told that she's being sexually molested by her dad.
So what I do find more horrifying is from the actual book, where the losers have an all-group sex orgy.
Well, I mean, like, it's not really, I mean, to me, that wasn't really horrific. It was just like, okay, it's weird, but I mean, they did that to strengthen their bonds to face it. When you're dealing with an extra dimensional entity that basically kills and eats people, look, you got to take any edge you can get, you know? You gotta take every single look. Listen, you're dealing with something like that, you gotta use every weapon in your arsenal, and if that includes a preteen sex orgy between a whole bunch of kids, I mean, shit. You gotta do what you gotta do. I mean, it has a lot of symbolism. It really does. Like in the book and in the original TV movie, there's the scene where Beverly basically the blood comes out of the drain. It's a symbolism for her
period.
Her period, and her menstruating, so she's becoming a woman. And I mean, like, everything is symbolism. Everything is symbolism. I think that the TV series had more guts than the movie, because in the TV series you have these psychotic kids who are just assholes just because. In the TV series and in the book, like, Derry is a fucked up town. You've got like borderline KKK people there. Well, I mean, they're basically KKK, except they aren't. I mean, there's no KKK there, but they have the same attitudes. They're violent. They don't like the one black kid in town. You know, I mean, it's like, okay, these people are clearly evil. The adults don't seem to get it, because it has basically turned the entire town into a feeder trap, if you will. And whenever something horrific happens, every 27 years, people just like, oh, that was fucked up. And then after about a year or two, they forget it and they go back to their lives. And I mean, that's the horrific thing. To me, the scariest thing about it is that everyone forgets that the shit happened. Like, it becomes a footnote and they just move on. But yeah, that's it. It was pretty good. It didn't scare me, but it was awesome seeing people freak the fuck out. Although I must say, don't go watch it or any scary movie with black people, because they will talk to the screen, and that's fucking rude as hell. Don't go in there. Oh, it's like, you need to shut the fuck up and watch the movie.
Looking at you, Etika.
Just period. I don't like people talking throughout the movie. That is so fucking rude. But yeah, that was one of my personal favorites. I guess we can talk scary games. Any scary games you played recently?
Super Mario 64.
Really? I'm guessing the haunted house?
Yeah. As well as Jolly Roger's Bay.
With the eel that just pops out?
Yes.
That damn eel. Hey, motherfuckers. He's like the Kool-Aid man. Oh yeah. I'm like, you motherfucker. Yeah. For me, one of the scariest games I played recently was Dragon Age Origins. Um,
Because
I
of because of oh, I thought you were talking. I thought you were referring to Inquisition and two.
no, Dragon Age Origins. Inquisition sucks, but um, Inquisition is not a good game. I don't know why people are like, oh yeah, Inquisition. Inquisition is not a good game. But no, for me, the Dragon Age Origins has this scary part that's just like, damn, I didn't see that coming. And it's the part where in the game where you have to go into the deep roads. The deep roads is where the dwarves live. And you find out that the dwarves have been fighting Darkspawn for years and years and years and years and years because they come out of the deep roads. And you figure out why the Darkspawn are coming out of the deep roads. Because when you go down there, you discover that the Darkspawn in the Dragon Age universe, the Darkspawn are like zombies but intelligent. The Darkspawn have two ways of coming about. The first way is like if you're bitten by a Darkspawn or somehow Darkspawn blood gets into a cut or something, you become tainted and either you die or you become a Darkspawn, right?
Right.
But then there's another way that more Darkspawn are created that's really fucked up. And you figure it out in the Deep Roads part of the game where you have to go get the help of the dwarves because while you're going underground and fighting all this shit, you discover that the Darkspawn, when they attack, like break out and attack caravans and stuff, they kill the men and steal the women. And then you find out what they do to these women. They capture them, they starve them, and then they force feed them the body parts from Darkspawn, like pieces of meat from dead Darkspawn. And most of the women die. But those that don't die, well, they turn into breeding machines for the Darkspawn. They transform into this monster called a brood mother. A brood mother is this tentacled beast of a creature that just like breeds Darkspawn like a damn ant queen laying out eggs. Except brood mothers can breed every other type of Darkspawn. They can breed ogres, which are like technically speaking, ogres are dark-spawned Kunari, which are another race in the game. Shrieks are these insect-like creatures. Those are elves that have been dark-spawned. Hurlocks are humans, and Genlocks are dwarves. And basically, the brood mothers just breed all of these friggin' mutant horrors that just come out, and it's like there's always a Darkspawn horde, which means that potentially speaking, there's like women are being captured, dragged under the ground, and mutated, forced mutated into these creatures, and then like forced to breed monsters. And it's and here's the thing, it's not really explicit. You don't see a lot of what's going on, but you get the context clues of what's going on, and it's horrific. And I'm like, now that is horrifying. That is how you do horror.
Body horror in its finest.
Well, not so much body horror, because like I said, you don't really see the transformation. You just hear about how the women are captured and then force-fed, and like some of them die, some of them transform. But the idea of a woman being captured by the Darkspawn, taken underground, locked up, and forced to either die or become one of these, basically a giant breeding machine, is horrific and really horror. It's one of the scariest things I've ever seen in a game.
In a non-horror video game, right?
Well, I mean, it's just horrifying. It's just really one of the most horrifying things I've ever seen. Like, it's like, I don't really get scared from games that are supposed to be scary, like Manhunt 2. I'm like, yeah, this isn't really scary. It's more just really violent or gory or has shock factor. But I mean, you know, the only kind of horror game that had kind of scary stuff was when I played Vampire the Masquerade, which basically has this segment where you go into this basement and you find this guy who's basically been calling people and cutting off their body parts and like selling the body parts in weird places. And it's just like it's like, man, that is fucked up right there. But that's not really horrific. It's just more like oh god, that's fucked up. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I really like I like games that have psychological horror versus just straight up body horror, games wise. Now movies, I can do body horror, but it's got to be done right. And no one does body horror better than David Cronenberg.
And
Did in The Fly.
oh yes, that film.
Um,
I was thinking more in lines of John Carpenter's The Thing.
Well, but I mean, John Carpenter doesn't really have the transformations in John Carpenter's The Thing. It's like it's really hard for me to feel sorry for anyone because they've already been taken over. So it's just like, man, this is an alien creature that's trying to survive that basically becomes smarter as it absorbs more things, more people, and more organisms. But I mean, The Fly, especially the first one, is that you see this guy transforming. And at first he thinks that it's like he's got cancer, and then you find out that he's like, well, did I absorb the fly? He's like, no. The computer's like, no, you didn't absorb the fly, like you eat a fly by accident or something. No. I fused the DNA between man and human, so you're Brundlefly now, and that's what he's becoming. And at the end of the film, like he just. Like Jeff Goldblum just turns into a giant man fly. But yeah, it's pretty damn horrific. I love it. Personally speaking, it's one of my personal favorites. So I mean, we're not going to have a real long podcast today just because other people didn't show up. So, and it doesn't take that long to talk about horrific things. So I think we've been here long enough. Anything you want to say before we wrap things up?
Nothing much else.
All right.
Though I do want to mention that the Friday the 13th video game is getting an update this month.
And what would that update be doing? Making a better single player, or?
Well, basically, the update involves Jason tickets, AI upgrades, new counselors, new emotes, and a salt mine server.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, as far as Friday the 13th goes, I'm a huge fan of the series. I even like the quote unquote shitty Jason movies because for me, I like seeing the creative kills that Jason Voorhees does. Actually, spoiler alert. Well, I don't know how this is a spoiler. This was a long time ago. In the first movie, Jason is not the killer. It's his mother. That nice old lady who just goes around killing people.
That's old news by now.
Yeah, but I like the first 3 or 4 movies in the Jason in the Friday the 13th movies because there's actually there's a story, there's an overall story going on that tells us like an overarching story. Like the first movie is, okay, these counselors were fucking up, they were smoking weed, making out, and weren't watching this special needs kid, and he drowns, and his mom's pissed. And then the second movie, apparently his ass didn't die. He's been surviving out there, and now he's gonna fucking kill everybody. And that's where you start the Jason Voorhees just killing motherfuckers stuff.
So if you follow the comics, he was brought back, he was resurrected with the use of the Necronomicon.
Yeah, they added that later. Like they added that 10, 15 years after. Like I'm going by movie continuity, not by comics, because comics add all type. Like if you have if you have to explain too much in a horror film, you've gone too far. And then the third movie, you finally get Jason with his hockey mask, just straight up murdering people. But Jason has rules. See, here's what I like about Jason. Jason has rules. Okay, typically speaking. Like if you are having sex or smoking weed or doing drugs, your ass is grass. That's it. Like if you don't do any of those things, if you're just, if you're the good kid, you might make it. But if you, and he will fucking look, you could be some kid watching an old porn movie with a projector. He's gonna kill your ass. And I mean, I've seen and here's how Paramount, I think, has the rights to Friday the 13th, or maybe it went back to New Line Cinema. I can't remember. But basically, here's what I'm saying. Okay. Today, we should have gotten a new Friday the 13th coming out today from Paramount or whomever.
We should have gotten the new Friday the 13th last year.
Yeah, we should have, but
But it got canned after the Rings movie flopped at the box office.
Yeah, but I mean, that's so stupid because it did so well, and it's a horror movie as well. So. I mean, I'm just like, I don't really see how that's whatever. But anyway, yeah, we should have gotten a new Friday the 13th film. They started doing a reboot that had they did the first movie and then they did the second movie. I haven't seen the reboots yet, the reboot and its sequel, but we should have gotten to a third movie by now. And here's the thing: if you're gonna reboot Friday the 13th, make it hard R. Like I want to see people get. I want to see a teenage couple making out on a foldaway bed.
The reboot was already rated R.
I know, but it's like, okay, there's hard R, and then there's it's kind of R. Like I want to see blood and guts. I want to see a teenage couple doing it on a bed. Jason sneaks up behind them and folds the bed up while they're on it, spread horizontal, so that they get bisected. That's the type of deaths I want to see. I want to see young. I mean, these were done in other movies, but I want to see it redone with not CGI, real gore effects. I want to see some dumbass camper hiding in a tent in a sleeping bag. And them hiding in the sleeping bag, like that's gonna save their ass. Jason grabbing that sleeping bag at the top, dragging their ass out and smashing them against a tree until there's nothing but bloody chunks in the bag. Like I want to see really, really violent death scenes for these people. So
NC-17 levels are.
No, NC-17 is NC-17 would be like. Believe it or not, NC-17 is when you have sex, like graphic, uncut sex. Like, because ultra violence, you don't even get, like, for the ultra violent shit, you never get NC-17. Because I saw Assault in Prison Block 37 with Vince Vaughn, and that movie is really violent. Like, it's almost cartoonishly violent, and that's a rated R. So I can't really. Like, there's a scene in that movie where Vince Vaughn's character fucking curb stomps a guy's face and then drags his face on the floor, basically leaving, like, rubs his face rubs the front part of his face off the floor, and you can see the muscles underneath the face twitching. And so he's still kind of alive. It's just really fucked up violence in that movie. Like, really, it's like, god damn, and it's rated R. So, NC-17 pretty much now is like, it's not a porno, but it's almost like explicit. You can see everything sex, then it's NC-17. Because I mean, there's extreme violence in a lot of movies, and it's still rated R. Because here in America, we're more prudish about sex than we are about violence, which is weird.
Yeah. Must be because of cultural differences.
I mean, it's just weird everywhere. Like in Japan, they'll make an anime about a 14, 15-year-old girl wanting to hook up with a dude in his mid to late 20s or in his 30s. Sailor Moon. Yet they'll censor junk. It's weird. It's like, really? Like, I mean, I'd be more offended about. I mean, like, I mean, I'd be more offended about the whole young girl going with a dude who's way too fucking old for her. Because they made a movie about that. It was called Lolita.
Yeah, but that's in the U.S.
Lolita has been remade. Like they remade Lolita because it was originally based on a book by
Oh yeah,
Nabokov.
yeah, I heard about the book, but I didn't know they had so many adaptations.
Yeah, yeah, and the weird thing is that in Japan, I mean, you have this whole fetish in Japan where these old dudes want to go with high school girls, and I'm like, look, man, fuck off. Go with someone your own damn age.
And you wonder why the U.S. is trying to pressure Japan to change their culture.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that it needs to be. I'm not saying that the U.S. is pressuring them. I'm saying that there's something wrong with people that are in their 30s that want to hook up with a 14 or 15-year-old girl. Like that's just like, that's kind of fucked up. I'm just, I mean, there's a time, there's a thing like, okay, there's this Indian tribe in the Amazon that practices free love. Literally, like anyone can sleep with anyone. There's no such thing as marriage. That's their business. That's their culture. If you're a first world country, which Japan is, and you think it's okay for a 30-some-year-old man to be hitting on a 14 or 15-year-old girl, that's not a culture thing. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like that's like, okay, that's because I mean, like a 14 or 15-year-old girl doesn't have the mental faculties or the emotional faculties. Hell, there are women that are in their 20s or 30s that you have sex with them once and they don't have the emotional, physical faculties to understand what that relationship might or might not mean. So I know a 14 or 15-year-old girl probably doesn't have those capacities. So I mean, like, you shouldn't be. That's just disgusting. I mean, ew. Here's my rule of thumb: if you can't take out a loan at 14 or 15 from a bank or sign a contract or anything like that, you shouldn't be having sex. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I don't know how we went off on that tangent. Let's wrap things up. Anything you want to pimp out before we wrap things up?
Nothing else. I'm just going to be saving those for Sci-Fi Power Hour as well as Sunday's BS Busters.
No. This is Sunday's BS Busters. This is a special. We're getting this out the way. So,
okay.
I guess anything you want to do on the BS Busters, if you absolutely have to do it, you want to get it out, we can do it tomorrow.
But actually, let's see. Well, there is some video game related news. Apparently, we've got yet another Fire Emblem Fates localization controversy situation. This on another game this time.
Oh God. Well, we'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll do a little special segment where we talk about gaming. Gaming will kind of mingle with Sci-Fi Power Hour ish. Yeah. And I have nothing to pimp out. I've upped 3 videos this week. If you guys get a chance, watch them. They're on my channel, Mr. Red Fox. And if you can't find my channel, just put BS Busters. You can find my channel that way because I'll show up. And with that being said, that's the end of this video. We shifted things up a little bit this week. We'll go back to our normal schedule next week. So look forward to that. And good night.
Stay away from the OJ.